On this episode, the crew gets to know each other and put up with each other as we endure the journey to Antigua. Day 1, somewhere off the coast of Virginia. First day at sea, guys. How you feeling? What better way to get to know your crew than over a nice hot meal? Chef Kimry was below deck cooking up something great for dinner. And of course, as we would come to learn over the course of the next 2 weeks, no dinner was ever complete without a great story.
Teach there, and this other instructor graduated at the same time I did, started about the same time I did. He says he's walking down the hall, and Faulkner goes, "I remember you. You're number 13." And he goes, I was number 13.
Little did we know what we would be in for later that night, the post-dinner moonrise.
That was really freaky.
Who knew the moon rising at sea could actually look like an atom bomb on the horizon?
The moonrise on the horizon at night at sea.
What are we, an ancient culture?
Wow.
Despite the scare on our first night watch, the sun did indeed rise in the morning, and the boat had indeed not tipped over. Now the only problem was what to do for the next couple weeks to pass the time at sea, especially with no land in sight. It is about 11 o'clock on November 4th. I had night watch last night on our first night. Wasn't super well defined, so awake most of the night. Can't really hold my eyes open today, so I'm going to try to catch a couple hours cat nap because taking the 12 to 3 shift to get tonight. So about 160 miles out in the Gulf Stream, directly south of Long Island and right off the shore of Virginia. After a little cat nap, it was time to check in on the crew back on deck. Back here on day watch. He gets the night off tonight. What do you see, Captain?
Water, lots of water.
Speaking of water.
Yeah, in this episode of Cooking Underway, boiling some water over here for some pasta for the crew. Everybody else is upstairs. We are under sail. So this should be interesting. First meal that I'm making while underway. This is how you boil water at sea. Stove is on a gimbal, and I'm boiling water and praying that it stays in the holders.
I survived my first cooking experience at sea, but now we were about to try to refuel a boat while we were underway. Seas were rising somewhere out in the Gulf Stream. We'd been under motor for about 24 hours, so it was time to put some gas in the tank.
Good operations. How many sailors does it take to put gas in the tank?
Yeah.
In 6-foot seas, your captain hanging off the back of the boat.
The most essential piece of equipment on this boat, and he's hanging it off the back.
Quite the operation for 7 o'clock in the morning.
It might have only been 7 a.m., but we were about an hour into this. We were finally past the sailor's worst nightmare, 3 days of motoring. We'd headed south and went under sail. We spent most of our time strategizing, trying to catch other boats. But with nothing else to do, we were about to undertake better endeavors.
All right, rumor has it that someone in the fleet caught dinner over somewhere out there. First mahi-mahis of the trip, so we're going to put lines in the water here while we try to exit the Gulf Stream. Sushi, what's for dinner?
There was no sushi for dinner, just dark clouds on the horizon as we settled in for another long night watch. We were lucky enough, however, though, to be treated to a display of stars before a long night. We couldn't wait for the wind, and now we had it. But where there's wind, there's also big waves.
They don't have an angle like we do, though. We're running them down. Haha, they turn.
Despite the high seas, Captain Tom was in good spirits as he sat behind the helm and strategized how to run down the other boats in the rally that were close to us, just within reach, only about a mile away. We would all sit and calculate and share stories. If we just got another knot or another half knot, how many hours would it take us to run them down? Such is the sailor's life at sea.
We have wind, but it's not. that was splashing around on the boat.
This might be boredom for some, but I think this is what
Come on,
sailors
baby.
live for. It's the strategy. Might be why sailors also love fishing.
Go fishing.
The lines were out for the fish. The seas kept building. And our playlist kept drudging on.
Woo, that was a big one.
The first 3 days of motoring, we'd prayed for this. And we were only a couple days into it here. Heeled over about 15 degrees. Seas about 6 feet, 4 foot of chop.
Day, I don't know what day it is. At sea. A little seasick this morning. Got some big waves. But making good progress south. Maybe we'll be in Antigua in a week.
I was still in relatively good spirits. And hey, fish on.
Fish on, fish on. Captain Tom for the win. Gonna eat good tonight. If he gets it in.
You got to boat it first.
Losing the fish might have been the beginning of the end for me. I suddenly started to look at everything from a different angle. And it wasn't just because the boat had heeled over to 25 degrees.
I guess it's a fairly good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think radar is the most important. Keeps you from running into shit.
Well, that's
Little did I know how important that statement was about to become. So day 6 at sea, it's about 3:30 in the morning. I just came in off of night watch. Had 18 knots of wind tonight and probably 4 to 6 foot just chop. So it's been a really, really uncomfortable ride. Haven't got any sleep yet. But hoping that'll smooth out as I turn in. Really got beat around the boat today too. I slammed into a wall and hit my elbow pretty hard. So really feeling pretty sore on day 6 at sea, but still happy to be out here.
Got up this morning and decided it was biscuit making weather. Despite the fact that we got mountains of water coming at the boat. Day 7, I'm hanging out down here on the floor waiting for the oven to heat up. I'm making the boys some biscuits and gravy. This is officially my new favorite spot on the boat because I can wedge myself between the kitchen cabinet and the wall, which means I'm not gonna fall over and smash into any more walls. So I'm just gonna hang out here and have my morning tea while I wait on the oven.
If you're paying attention, you realize that I'm on about 4 hours of sleep. Pretty sure I was in delirium at this point.
Feel it.
Yeah, okay. So far, fish 7. Candace, nothing.
Hey, we're running 2-0 right now. I'm gonna get one today.
The guys, too, had found new endeavors, making fun of my fishing.
fish are gonna take Candace's lunch money again today.
I don't know, boys, if I was a betting man. I'd put money on me getting the fish.
Probably a good thing they weren't betting men. We just continued to wait.
Fish for dinner tonight, guys. Depress anything.
I was beginning to think that a lot of the amusement on the boat was at my expense.
Water burner.
God damn it, this ain't Guantanamo.
Talk, damn it, talk! Wait, lean back. Trust him. Thomas knows what he's doing.
Okay.
Our water conservation efforts had resulted in me asking the captain to wash my hair with a bucket of salt water.
Special salt treatment.
That's your $150 in New York.
$250.
You know how expensive salt water is here?
I guess you haven't lived until you let your captain waterboard you while trying to wash your hair at sea.
Meanwhile, Shelby's up there with his air conditioning.
With his masseuse running him over.
Chair, wondering why we're not catching him. But We like our comfort back here.
We also had a pretty good time
Okay.
ragging on other boats in the fleet that had all the luxuries,
It's so
like,
dirty,
you know, fresh hot running showers and air conditioning.
All right.
Go, gurgle, 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 gurgle. You know,
But who needs the luxuries when you have this fun?
being a beautician isn't what it used to be.
Oh, it's salty. All right. I think that's at least a wash.
With the every 5-day shower complete, we continued on, and the seas continued to build. You might notice here that you don't see the horizon.
Yeehaw.
And now you do. That's what it's like being this far out at sea.
Dress kind of day out here. Running the wild high seas. A little bumpy. A little bumpy.
You know, next time I'm paying for first class.
It's what you get when you ride in peasant class with the Beverly Hillbillies.
You got room on that car?
We were actually on a beautiful boat, and this was another beautiful sunrise. We just were pretty much all first-time blue water sailors and just had no idea what we were about to endure.
5:30 a.m. projects aboard the SV Synergy. Put a little lube in there, Cap.
The squeaky helm wasn't fun for me to listen to in the aft cabin, but it also posed some worry. The strain on the chain every time we
Squeaky helm.
rounded up a wave, with continued stress for the rest of the journey, could result in a broken chain and no steering.
Daily happy hour. Chef Kim arrived. It's happy hour aboard Synergy.
At this point, we were well over a weekend, and happy hours became the happiest point of the day. We continued to find ways to pass the time, seas continued to build, and, well, we were about to get some excitement.
A little bit of excitement on board. Just took a massive rogue wave. Got water on the deck. Water everywhere.
You don't look as good as I was thinking.
But the boat did not tip over. Hail, hail! That, if there was a wave that was going to get us, there was going to be that one. That one went right over the top.
That wave literally might have been the straw that broke the camel's back.
Today's strategy is basically find a spot to hang out and endure 24 hours of like 5 Gs. Yesterday's strategy was find somewhere dry, but we've been taking so many waves over the boat that pretty much nothing is dry at this point. So, foregone conclusion of just try to endure the gravity as we're fighting the swells.
Because we were taking such waves on one side of the boat would round up and we'd feel nothing but gravity. It also was causing leaks everywhere, and we were getting very soggy. Somewhere around day 9, the seas just continued to build. The crew was absolutely exhausted and beat up from being thrown around the boat. Everybody's strategy was just find a place to rest. But there was going to be no rest for the wicked because things were about to get a whole lot worse that night.
Now safely back in my bunk at about 5 in the morning. Just had some scary shit go down on board. We lost our generator earlier, and usually you can compensate for that by running the main. But our auto helm was drawing too much energy and drained all batteries and all power on board, so we couldn't even get our main engine started. So had to steer the old-fashioned way with a compass for about an hour, and we had to call into the U.S. Coast Guard, but we were about 400 miles offshore, and we were out of VHF range of anybody. But luckily we had a spare battery on board that we had charged earlier in the day, and we were able to jumpstart the motor. Wasn't really like imminent danger, but it would have been a really long 12 hours of hand steering and 20 plus knot winds. So not fun, rather tired. So gonna call it a night while we're under motor. day whatever we're on. Jim's back here hand steering. Champion of hand steering, although he just hit a whale. We just hit something in 19,000 feet of water.
But it's strange that it stayed at like 200 feet for a continuous time.
Yeah.
It might have been a submarine.
I'm thinking that's like a massive school of fish or something. But to be on the surface like that, that's weird too.
This is what the aftermath of
not get in his way.
generator outage looks like at sea. Day after that it happened at night, which totally sucked. So, trusty Jim Brewer back there hand steering for hours on end.
It's probably worth mentioning at this point that all of the things that had went wrong the night before and resulted in this scene were occurring right as we were exiting the Bermuda Triangle. I decided to give Jim a little relief behind the helm and take over hand steering for a while. I gotta say, it's a lot more fun in the daylight.
Yeah. Candace is doing it at the helm, keeping us on course. Oh! Big wave there.
Bring it back around.
If you're not an excellent hand steerer, which I'm not, correcting after a wave like that definitely takes some grit. But after the whole crew had been up for an emergency the night before, everybody had a role to play.
Our buddies are out there tonight, thank goodness.
There's our captain.
Had a rough night.
Yep.
Had a rough night.
Yep.
Cap had finally hit his wall. The emergency the night before combined with trying to fix the generator all day that day, and at this point about 9 days of no sleep, had definitely taken its toll. But a journey like this is a team sport, so you keep a smile on your face and you press on, at least when you're with the crew.
Go sailing, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Day 10, 300 miles to go. This thing is like a sauna sweat box. We have no AC, no generator, and I currently have towels stuffed all in the windows and the ledges to stop the leaking. My bed is wet, I'm wet. There's basically no way to be dry on this boat. Water, water everywhere. For those of you who thought yachting was glamorous.
Day 13. Land ho. I don't think I had ever been happier to see land in my life. Actually, I think I might have been happier the night before at about 1 a.m. when we hit Barbuda and got our first cell phone signals in 2 weeks. We carried on here, down the east side of the island, had to round around to the south. We made it.
Harbor Ho! 2,000 miles later! Woo! Synergy has arrived. Welcome to Antigua.
We were excited to find that we were one of the first few boats to arrive. It was time to put Synergy on the hook and wait for the health inspectors to come clear us in. But while we waited, it was time to celebrate.
Cheers. Okay. So let's all pop them at the same time.
All right. One,
I'm ready.
one, 2, 3.
Cheers. Synergy is in Antigua.
To the crew of Synergy.
Yes, we arrived.
We're in Antigua. Woo!
A little worse for wear, all 1,717 miles. But we made it.
This is our floating dumpster sailing vessel Synergy. After 2 weeks at sea, everything is disastrous and looks like complete shit.
But who cares? We were in Antigua. If you liked this episode, be sure to subscribe.